Alright, hey guys, welcome back here to my little workshop. Today I have this guitar here, which is my own guitar. It's an Epiphone Les Paul Standard. And I've basically had this for a while. And I've been trying to, going back and forth between wanting to sell it and wanting to keep it. But there's just, some things on it that I just, I don't like it. I don't really like that bridge too much, and I didn't like the nut that was on the guitar. So I've gone ahead and upgraded this. I've not yet upgraded the bridge, but I might do that depending on how it plays with the new nut. But I've made a new nut for it, and what I basically want to share a little info about here in this video would be taking a look at action at the first fret here, basically your nut action. Sorry for the shaky cam, but I'm trying to get you in so you can see what I'm doing here. But taking a look at the first fret action, because basically when we look at guitars, we want to set it up as best as possible, and we basically, when we go to do that, we have three key areas that we have to take into consideration. And the first being the truss rod and the neck itself, because we want to be able to take the truss rod and adjust it into the type of relief that we want in the neck. And it depends on player preference and depending on genres and what type of player you are. And for a guitar like this, I like to I go between different feeler gauges, thickness of feeler gauges, in order to get it somewhat in the ballpark of what I like. And for a guitar like this, whether it's an Epiphone or a Gibson, the thickness of the feeler gauges that I use can be anything from 0.006 and up to 0.010. So it basically all depends on how the guitar plays, and the guy playing the guitar, is he a light picker or a hard strummer? All those things are variables that we have to take into consideration as well. But I want to talk a little about the first fret action here, because I've basically I've made a new nut from scratch here, and I've made it myself using a couple of tools, and it is basically slotted to where the strings sit nicely in the nut. Let me zoom in so you can see it a little better. Right there, you can basically see that the strings are sitting quite nicely in here. And when we slot our nut slots, we basically want to see that we have somewhat of half of the string sitting in the nut slot itself, and the other half, or somewhere in between that, sitting above. And we basically have that. We have a nice ramp going on here, and I'm quite happy with how this nut turned out. So I'll try to see if I can get some pictures, or we can take it in for a better look. But I haven't glued it in yet, so I have the option to take it off, and we will do that because I have adjusted the truss rod. I've adjusted it down to where I believe it suits the guitar. I've also adjusted the action, which is the truss rod was our first concern. Second concern is our action down here. We want to set it as close to where we like it, or where the customer or player like it. And the last is the nut itself. So one is our truss rod, two is our bridge down here setting the action, and number three is our nut action. Given that I have set the truss rod and I have set the bridge, we are going to take a look at the nut, because we have, even though I've slotted this down to somewhere where I thought it would be good, we still have a couple of strings are still sitting a little too high at the first fret here. but luckily we have room to work with. So I'm not going to file the nut slots themselves. I'm going to take off the nut, since I'm able to do that, and basically just file a little bit off the bottom, because that would be the easiest fix. Otherwise I would have to, file the nut slots, shape the nut down again, polish it up again, and it would just basically take forever. So I'm going to take the nut out and file a little bit off the bottom, fit it back on, check it, and see, basically where we're at. So before I do that, let me just bring you in so you can see, the gap I have, and let's talk a little bit about, the measurements that we want to use. So stay tuned, guys. So here's a little, better view of what I'm talking about. We basically have our knot right here, and we have the strings, having its highest point here at the front of the knot, and then ramping down towards the peg heads. We want the first fret action here to be, you could say as low as possible, so that you could just, fit a hair, or the thinnest E string under each, gap here from the fret top to the bottom of the string. I have a different, approach to measuring this, and there are different options, and you can choose, basically whatever you like. One thing is to press down right here, right behind the second fret, the fret wire itself, first fret here, second fret here. Or if you like it, this right here is the third fret itself, but the second fret wire here. So you press down behind the second fret wire, and you can basically tap close to the first fret wire, and you can see there's quite a bit of gap and movement there. Basically we want to take it down so we only have a little gap, and basically it's the same for the rest of the strings here. They are sitting quite high, but as I said, we can adjust and tweak that by taking the knot out and filing down the bottom of the knot. So you can measure by pressing down behind the second fret wire, gently tapping right here, or as Gibson, Epiphone, as they recommend from their factory specs, you can use a different type of feeler gauges, and without pressing down behind the second fret wire, you can insert the feeler gauges on each string and basically see where they're at. So Gibson and Epiphone recommends, as their starting point or guidelines, that for the low E and the A string, they would like to see 0.8 millimeters, and I basically have that right here. So 0.032 inches, and that's basically what they like to see here at the low E and the A string. So if I insert that without pressing down anywhere, I can just gently tap the string, and you can see there are room to take it down a notch, and the same for the A string. There are room to be tweaked, so we can do that. Okay, so for the G and B string, we have to take this 0.024, and that's basically what they like to see on the D and G string. So we can insert that as well, and we can take a look and see, okay, we have some room to adjust there as well. So we're going to do that as well. And for the B and high E string, we basically have this one right here, 0.016. So we insert that again down here, and we can see quite some room to take down on the B and high E string as well. So as I said, we're going to file down the bottom of the knot, and we're going to take it slow, because we do not want to go too far, because then I have to start all over again. So we're going to do, we're going to loosen up the strings. We're going to take off the knot here and sand the bottom down, maybe take 5 or 6 passes on. I'll have to decide on what grid of sandpaper I will use, but nothing too coarse. We want to be able to control the situation and the outcome nicely. So I will have to think about that and get that ready, and I will bring you in so you can basically see what I'm doing. So stay tuned, guys, and I'll be right, guys. So these are basically the things that we want to use when we have to take a little off the bottom of the knot here. So I have a machinist square here, just in order to make sure that I'm taking off an evil piece of material all across. And it's just I'm going to take this, raise it up like that, make sure that it's nice and flat against, place the knot with the flat side here, the flat side up against the flat side of the machine square, and then just hold it in place and file or sand across. And the sandpaper here is emery cloth, and it's 320. So as I said, I'm probably going to take a couple of strokes here, and we'll have to fit it back on the guitar in order to see how much it has changed. But we might, sorry, I'm just dropping it. We might have to, take off quite a bit. But you can see the knot here, and it's, I'm quite happy with the result. I will have to see, if the string spacing is good, but I believe that we should be able to, get some nice tones out of this. At least it's an improvement from, what was on there before. But yeah, these are the things that we're going to use. So let me just, get the camera set up at a view where you can, see everything without my hands getting in the way most of the time. So be right back, guys. So I hope this view right here should be, visible for you. But we have the knot here, and I have placed the machine square up so I have a flat, 90-degree angle to kind of set it on while I sand. I'm going to place it right up against, make sure that there are no room, and I will, fit my fingers around it, holding the machine square. And we're going to take a couple of passes here. Okay, so I think we're going to start with that, and just get the knot polished up. And if you want, we can basically just check it here to see if everything's still fine. And everything is good. I'm just checking for squareness, and you can see everything right here is good. It's solid. So we can basically take it over to the guitar again here, and I can fit it, and I'm just going to set in the outer E strings in order to get a check on where we are. So I'm going to place those, and I'm going to place the knot so that it sits, and we're basically just going to tune it up a little here. Well, let's just place the things like that. Just a second here. Well, we're just going to put them on anyway. But we're only going to tighten or tune up the 2 outer E strings. Okay, so we get the knot in here again, and we basically set it so that it feels nice. And we're going to tune it up here. Sorry for the shaky camera, but yeah. Okay, so we basically have enough tension on it here. And as I said, I just want to take the feeler gauge, the 0.032 here, and I want to take it in. Still have a little bit of way to go. So we can go back, take out the knot again here, and we can, basically take a little bit more off the knot. So let me stop all this shaky stuff right here, and I'll take off the knot, and I will give it a couple of passes here again, and I will fit it, and we will, see where we're at. So I'll bring you in there, guys, and, just stay tuned for it. Alright, guys, so I've basically just been sanding a little bit off the bottom, and I ended up, taking the knot on and off for about 5 or 6 times, because I just, I want to get this right, and if you take off too much material, you can't go back. You need to either, shim the knot up, or, make a new knot, start all over. And I didn't feel like doing any of those things, so I took it slow, and, I used some 320 grit sandpaper, and just, used the machine square as I showed you to make sure that I was getting it all down right. So, as I said, for the low E and the A string, we want 0.80 millimeters. When I started out on the low E here, it was at 1 millimeter straight out. So now we have to go in and check our progress here. So I have my feeler gauge here, my 0.032 matching, and I will insert it. And you can hear we have some buzzing, and basically means that we have reached this feeler gauge. So we are right on the money. For the A string, we are there too. We can then move down, take our other feeler gauge here, 0.024 for the G and the G string. We can insert it, we can hear. And perhaps the G string is a little bit high still, but I'll take the guitar and set it up and get it where it needs to be, and I will play it for a couple of hours, and I will see if I like it or if I need to take it down. And from there I might just take the nut slot file and give it a pass or two. So for the B and the high E string, we have this 0.016, and let's see what the B string says. Still a little bit high, but we can alter that later. But basically the high E string is down to what we like as well. If you feel like it, sorry, you can take this, simple action gauge, and it has, heights down here for strings. So you can basically, go in and do the same thing, place it here, and you can check your progress. And as I said, we wanted 0.4 millimeters, and we have that. On the E string we wanted 0.8, and down here I can see that we have that. It's just resting right there. So basically we are right in the ballpark, And from here, you know, it's all about, you know, player and personal preference, because you can go in and you can tweak the rest from there in order to get it down. And as I said, I'm going to play the guitar and see where it's at, and from there we can always adjust it further. So everything is good to go now. I will let the guitar settle a little bit. I will come back and check the neck relief, and I will check the pickup height and the string height. And from there I will, you know, wait with gluing the nut in, because I want to play it first and see if, you know, everything's good. And when I know that the only thing I need is to perhaps, you know, file the nut slots down a little bit, I'm going to glue the nut in, attach the strings, you know, to get an even clamping pressure up here, and I'll let it settle. And I might come back, you know, tomorrow and reslot, you know, the strings that need that. And from there we're basically done. Shouldn't have no problem. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I will just, you know, get back to checking, and I will bring you in, guys, when we get a little closer. Alright guys, so basically everything has been taken care of now. I've just adjusted the pickups up a little bit, and trying to basically balance them out. And I like to set my pickups at 1.6 millimeters on both sides, so 1.6, 1.6, and the same over here, by basically depressing the down string, the low E string at the last fret and the high E string at the last fret, and then just match the pole pieces. Yeah, and the neck relief seems fine, so we won't basically, you know, I won't alter the truss rod anymore. The guitar feels really nice playing, and, you know, basically I'll just have to let the strings settle in and stretch them out a little bit in order to, you know, keep it better in tune. And yeah, basically no bossing out anywhere, so I'm quite happy with that. Lastly, we'll just have to set the intonation here, and of course we will have to, you know, we'll have to glue the nut in, and I'm probably going to, you know, glue the nut in before I do any intonation stuff down here. So yeah, nothing, you know, major about that. And I would say that for, you know, the nut, you know, different people use different adhesives and stuff, but I would probably just, you know, use some regular wood glue and just a dab on each side, and, you know, get it, you know, settled and nice flush around the edges, and then, you know, clamping pressure from the strings itself. So I should, you know, I see no point in using super glue and anything like that. You have, you know, with regular wood glue, you have the, you know, option to get it fine adjusted here and put the strings on and clamp it down like that, and you don't have to, you know, rush and do it and, you know, get it set up wrong and having a hard time getting it out again with the super glue. So yeah, you know, that would just be basic stuff. But let me bring you in again, guys, when I'm ready to, you know, intonate the guitar and basically, you know, see what the final verdict will be here. So I'll get to that, and yeah, stay tuned, I'll be back. Alright guys, so I have now successfully fitted the nut and seated it, and I have glued it in now, and the string tension are just, you know, applying pressure to keep the nut nice and, you know, to keep it in while the glue settles. And I basically just, you know, I ended up using regular wood glue, just giving it a little dab at each end here and just, you know, clamping it in with the string pressure. And, you know, there was basically nothing much to it. It was quite easy, and yeah, well, it doesn't really need any explanation. Well, yeah, so what basically remains now is to, you know, go through the guitar, see if the neck relief is good, see if the string action is good, and, you know, give the guitar the ultimate playtest. But let me just see if I can give this knot a little more justice here by zooming in on it. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's nice and polished, feels good. String saw sitting nice, and after we just took a little, material off the bottom here, everything is great. So basically, yeah, as I said, we have to run through the different specs to see if everything is as it should. And then it's basically up to me, to decide whether I like to keep this or I like to, sell it. I'm mostly used to playing, Strats and Telecasters. So the neck and, the single cutaway here and, not being able to, have, as great as an access, down here as you have on the Telecaster. It's just, for me, it just feels easier to grab a Telecaster and play the lower notes, and I kind of struggle a bit. But, again, it's all personal preference and player preference, what you're used to play, and yeah, anything in between that. So I'll have to figure that out, but right now we are good to go. I'm happy with this. So let's take a look at some of the specs, shall we? Alright, so we're checking the neck relief or the neck straightness, and I have affixed a capo up here. I'm going to press down at the last fret down here, and we're basically going to, take a look here at the 8th or 9th fret to see if we can slide the feeler gauge under. And, this is good right here. This is the feeler gauge. And, something like neck relief is also very, personal preference. And, you can do a lot of different things, but the guitar feels and play, great with this setup right here, 0.008, and I have no buzzing out anywhere, so I'm basically happy with that. Let's take the cable off, and let's take a look at the string height. So let me take you guys down here. And we will try to get in here. We're just going to, take the action gauge here again. And basically right now I see 1.75 on, the two outer E strings, and it seems to be fine, it plays fine. It doesn't have any buzzing. So we're basically, good to go there. Perhaps we could take a quick look at, the first fret action, just to see where we're at. And let's just start by taking this feeler gauge right here, and basically just slide in and C, and we're basically good to go. As you will notice, it might have a little bit of room, but we can always tweak it if we need that, if we feel like it. So basically we are set to go, and this guitar is now, at least it has a better upgrade with the knot that than it had before with the stock knot. So overall I'm very pleased with how this turned out, and I'm going to just leave it here overnight with the pressure of the strings clamping the knot in, and from there we should be good to go. I'll just play the guitar, and I will basically see what I think about it and decide what I'll have to do with it. But overall a nice looking guitar, and from now, you know, it should be a nice playing and sounding guitar as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon for more videos. So keep subscribing, and I appreciate the support, and you know, we keep this thing going. So have a good one, guys. I will see you soon.